Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Rick Rice. I'm the Director of Software and Support at Media Services. This webinar is going to highlight some of the enhancements we've recently added to our MediaWeb Feature TV accounting system and give you a sneak peek of our new budgeting module scheduled to be available later this month. This webinar only focuses on some of our new features, but a pre-recorded webinar that reviews all MediaWeb modules is available on our website. Go to mediaservices.com/webinars to see a list of all available items. During the presentation, feel free to send us questions in the chat panel. I'm joined today by Anthony Lopez, Vice President of Sales, who will be fielding your inquiries.
Hello, everyone.
We'll do our best to get to your questions during the webinar, but if not, we'll follow up with you individually afterward. This webinar is also being recorded and will be emailed to you later today. Okay. So if any of you haven't used our accounting system previously, MediaWeb is a secure online application accessed through your web browser. MediaWeb is available at no cost to all Media Services payroll clients. I'm using Firefox today and have zoomed in the screen a bit to make it easier to see on your computer. I'm going to begin with an overview of the new vendor ACH payment process. In banking, ACH stands for Automated Clearinghouse, which is a network that coordinates electronic payments and automated money transfers. ACH is a way to move money between banks without using paper checks, wire transfers, etc. This has become especially popular during the COVID era, where many businesses are eager to move into a paperless environment. We'll begin by accessing our demo bank module here. I'm going to set up bank, selecting our demo bank here. The ACH process is enabled within the Interface tab. Before you can activate the ACH process, you will need to contact your bank to enable the service at their end. They will provide you with these codes here: the immediate destination, immediate origin, and company ID. These are needed for the NACHA file, which MediaWeb generates. The NACHA file format is used universally across banks to transmit ACH payment details. Our software support team is happy to assist you with turning on this process when you're ready. So next, I'm going to go into our vendor maintenance screen. And I'm going to open this up a little bit bigger here. This module is where the basic information about each of your vendors is stored. I'm accessing one of our pre-saved vendors here, Mr. George Washington, and I'm displaying his details. So in order to pay a vendor using the new ACH process, the vendor will need to supply you with their bank's account and routing numbers. This information will be populated in the bottom right portion of the screen down here. Currently, the default payment type in the system is computer check. Checking the default ACH payment box here will automatically set the payment type to ACH when creating a new AP invoice for this vendor. I also recommend populating the vendor's email address, as MediaWeb can automatically send a payment notification to vendors when ACH payments are processed. You also have default account information you can store here, and all the other basic information you'll want about your vendor, which you'll see how that's used in just a second here. Next, we're headed to our AP invoice module. This module is where users enter accounts payable invoices and select how they'll be paid. I'm going to pick the George Washington vendor we were just looking at a moment ago here. You'll notice on the top right here that the check type has defaulted to ACH payment. This is because I checked that box in the vendor screen to make it default. You can still change the payment type to computer, manual check, wire transfer, etc. if desired. I'm going to complete all of the required fields here for the AP and save. I'm going to enter in just an invoice number here, enter in dollar amount, Just going to enter in description. And you'll notice the account details on the bottom automatically populated because I had these account numbers defaulted for this vendor in the vendor maintenance screen. Now I'm going to click Save, and the AP transaction is saved. Aside from reviewing the ACH payment check type in the top right for the vendor, the whole AP invoice entry process remains completely unchanged. The AP cycle for an ACH payment is identical to what you'd use for a manual check or a wire transfer entry. So the system is going to contain both an AP invoice and a check or payment transaction to be posted. So first, I'm going to go into our posting module here. And I'm going to select our AP invoices. And there's the George Washington AP invoice that I selected. I'm going to post it. And now the AP invoice has been posted. So now when you're ready to process your ACH payment, the check or payment transaction will need to be posted. So I'm going to choose my check here. There's my George Washington. I'm going to select the check record. I'm going to post that. I'm just saying no to displaying the report that automatically pops up, my posting report, for the purposes of the webinar here. So in addition to hitting the ledger, that last process, posting the payment record, is what makes the ACH payment ready to be included in a file. Okay, so now I'm going to access our new ACH payment screen. I'm going to go to Activities, Checks, ACH Payment. Got to maximize this screen so you can get a better view here. So the default view presents us with a list of all posted payment transactions tagged with that ACH check type. Here you can select which payments to be included in the Nacha file by simply clicking on the checkbox in the column. Vendors populated with an email address in the vendor maintenance screen have the box in the Send Email checked automatically and will receive a notification similar to this once the file is generated. This lists your show and production company name, the vendor's invoice number, date, amount, and lists the show's primary contact details found in the company setup area of MediaWeb. The system will alert you if a vendor's email is missing and provides an easy Add Email link, which brings you to the vendor screen so you can populate the data if you have it. At the top, the system displays the next available bank business day as the effective date. Bank ACH regulations state that the file you upload must contain the next available business day and won't accept the current, past, or even a future date in the file. We provide a convenient list of the next year's bank's holidays here. When ready, click on the Create File button at the bottom, and this will either prompt you to save the file or it will automatically download it depending on your browser's download settings. This is the file you will upload to your bank's website to initiate payments. Closing out of here. By clicking on the Sent Items tab, you will see a history of all your ACH payments in an easily filterable grid. If you're unable to upload a file the day you created it, which, as you recall, must be done due to the bank regulations stating the file must be dated the next business day, you can generate a new file with an updated effective date by going to, close out of here, Activities, Checks, Recreate ACH Payment. And expand the screen here. This screen displays a list of all the files you've generated and provides an expandable list so that you can view all of the details in the file. The Recreate button saves the file just like the previous ACH screen. That is the entire process. ACH payments will appear in all the same places checks currently exist: bank reconciliation, check history, vendor history, etc. And although this ACH feature is new, we've had a few high-volume clients using it for the past couple of months now. All of the steps I just walked you through are also available in a PDF our support team is happy to provide you if you choose to use this function. I'm going to pause for a moment here. Anthony, do we have any questions that have come in the panel there?
No, we don't have any questions. Vanessa Caesar would like us to know that this is amazing.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. Thank you.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. We got one that just popped up. Do you have to enter a manual check number? From Christina.
You do not. That is a great question. So the system is automatically going to keep track of the ACH numbers for you. So we start off with ACH 0001, and then it goes 2, 3, 4, 5, and the system will automatically keep track of that for you, so you can see how many ACH payments you're up to. This also helps if your bank gives you a certain number of payments that you have to stay within, or a certain dollar amount they're charging you based on the number of payments processed. So great question. You do not have to keep track of that. The system does it for you. All right. So next, I'm going to show you some of the enhancements we've made to our payroll module. I go to payroll here, payroll maintenance. Let me open up this screen and click on one of the payroll invoices. All right, so this module contains all of your finalized or processed payroll invoice details. Historically, files were sent to the accounting team, who then imported them into the payroll module. Now, shows can be set up so that when payroll is finalized in our payroll system, the details will be immediately available within MediaWeb's payroll maintenance screen here, with no importing required. This module has always displayed a summary breakout of earnings, fringes, and non-taxable items, similar to what you see here. Users are able to split lines to break out costs to multiple accounts, or combine lines if desired. When posting, the system can automatically generate an AP or journal entry transaction to record the payment of payroll. The grid in this module has been significantly enhanced with several robust features. Each column header provides an easy way to filter data. Clicking on each of the column headers sorts the column by the contents within. Beside each row is a drop-down caret that displays the enhanced details of the row. When expanding the earnings, for example, you can now see the payment type, dollar amount, hours worked, rate of pay, the days worked, and even the payment information if they were paid via ACH or check out of our payroll system. If they receive multiple payments, you'll receive multiple payment numbers in here. Expanding fringes provides similar details, except now you can see the federal, state, and local taxes, handling fees, workers' comp, or any fringes that you are tracking within the system. Non-taxable items now list what the non-taxable is: mileage, box rental, kit rental, dollar amount, rate of pay, etc. All rows can be quickly expanded or collapsed using these little buttons at the bottom here. Expand that. And grid data can easily be exported to Excel and PDF using these little icons beside it. Another cool feature is the ability to group data by simply dragging multiple items into the grouping area. I'm going to take this week ending date, drag and drop into this grouping area here, and now it has grouped by week ending date. You can do additional groupings by I'm going to take the employee here, drag that up, and now we've just grouped by week ending date and then by payee. The grid is still editable, and you can still see all the information as it was previously, but now grouped as you need. So right now, we're looking at data for a single invoice on the screen, but we've created a robust reporting tool that mimics this behavior. I'm going up here to Reports, Payroll Details. Let me expand this screen here to give you a better view. You'll notice this grid is very similar, but we've added a few conveniences. Up in the header, you can see by default, we're showing all payroll transactions, but we have an easy way to filter by posted, unposted, and even your earnings and fringes by default are summarized, but you can expand them with these quick expanders here. Clicking on detail next to earnings shows you all of the earnings columns in a nice grid. So it gives you your summary column still, but now you can see your straight time, overtime, gold time, etc. Collapsing earnings, opening up our fringes here. You can now see all your fringe breakouts. So your FICA, Medicare, taxes, pension, health and welfare, handling fee, fringes, holiday accrual, etc. So clicking on those shortcuts on the top basically do very similar functionality to what these three little bars here do on the left. By clicking those bars, this actually gives you the ability to choose what columns you want to see on the grid. Depending on what I've checked on the top, so you can see I've got the summary options both checked now, you'll see that all of those detail columns have become unchecked in the grid here. So this is something completely flexible that you have the ability to play around with. The sorting, grouping, and single-click PDF and Excel creation in this screen is identical to the previous one. The new payroll module and report are already available for all users. Any new show that is set up will have the information automatically flowing into MediaWeb by default. If you're on an existing project that still receives the import files but would like to switch to the automated feed, simply contact us and we can turn it on. I'll pause for a moment here. Anthony, do we have any questions regarding the payroll area?
We have one or two, but we had a couple with regards to the ACH. Wonder if you could answer. There were a couple of inquiries with regards to what is the process to notify the bank, or how do we inform the bank of the ACH?
When you first want to start using ACH, you'll have to contact the bank and let them know that you want to turn it on. Every bank's a little bit different in their process, but on their end, it's something they simply need to enable. And they're going to provide you with those three pieces of information you need to populate in MediaWeb so that when you generate the file, it matches what they need to receive. So that is a conversation you will have to have with the bank, but it is something that they can all do.
Great. And Vanessa has a question. Can you see free tax tagging for each type of fringe?
Yes, absolutely. So when you first start a project, you're going to want to let your payroll coordinator know if you want to have any special free field tagging. So yes, all fringe rules can be tagged and broken out and split by up to 4 free fields. So you've got a lot of flexibility there with the tagging, and however you have it tagged in the payroll system will automatically flow right into MediaWeb. So I'm in a demo show here that is only showing 2 free fields, but you actually have up to 4 free fields that you can display. And then Anthony, did you say we also had a question regarding the information in payroll module?
That was the field tagging question there.
Oh, I see. Perfect. Okay, excellent. All right, well then, I'm going to move on to our next item here, which is the journal entry screen. I'm going to go to Activities, Journal Entry. I'm going to make this nice and big for you here. So the next item that I want to show you has existed in our journal entry and purchase card modules since the beginning of the year, but many users may be unaware that it's available. So here in the journal entry modules, users can create and import transaction data. Previously, data to be imported had to be saved in an Excel file format and run through an import routine before it displayed in the entry screen. Now, spreadsheet data can simply be copied and pasted into the transaction. Here is a sample spreadsheet with transaction data. You'll notice that the columns in this Excel file mimic the entry screen columns. This is important for ensuring a smooth copy-paste of the data. An Excel template is easily created by clicking on the Excel export button that you're going to see in all of the new screens that we've come out with. And when your grid is empty and you click that export button, it basically creates an Excel just like this, but with no data. So here's how the copy-paste works. I'm going to click inside the Excel file here, and I'm using a Windows computer, so I'm just hitting my Control-A, or I could just copy all of the area of the information I want to copy. I'm then going to click into the journal entry module. I'm hitting Control-V to paste in the data, and that's it. The data is in there. You can easily copy-paste in vast amounts of data right into the screen. There are several ways this can actually save accountants a lot of time. We have a number of clients that have exported data from credit card, debit card, P card, or any site where you can obtain transactional data. and can save it to Excel. Once you have the data, you can either manipulate it to match the template or simply copy paste in just the columns you want. I'm going to go back to creating a new journal entry transaction here. I'm going to open up that same Excel file, but this time I'm just going to grab our amount and description columns and copy just those. Going into the grid here, again, I'm just going to do a paste. You're going to notice that only the amount and the descriptions have pasted in, leaving the rest of the fields open. This can be great when you have crew members turning in petty cash expenses in Excel that don't necessarily know the proper account coding. You can simply paste in what they send and populate the coding as needed later on. Our purchase card module has the same copy-paste functionality in addition to the custom interfaces we built with some of the leading P-card providers. But the nice thing about this function is that you have a universal way to easily get large amounts of data into MediaWeb. Anthony, I'll pause here for a moment. Do we have any questions regarding the copy-paste functionality?
No, no questions regarding that function has come in.
Excellent. All right. I'm going to close out of here. And the final item I want to show today is a sneak peek into our budget EFC maintenance module scheduled to be released later this month. I've accessed one of our pre-saved budgets here, and like the current module we have, the new screen mimics your cost report columns and provides an easy way to update your budget, estimated final cost, and estimate to complete amounts. I've zoomed in to make it easier to see in the demo, and so columns stretch off to the right just a little bit here. Similar to what you saw in the payroll modules, columns can be added or removed as desired for easier viewing, clicking on that 3-bar button that you see in the top of the screen. Also similar to what you saw on the payroll screen, there are these little carrots at the left that expand so you can view in real time what transactions make up the actual and committed costs displayed on the screen. Default values are set for company, currency, location, production, etc. at the top when you first create a budget. These determine what posted and purchase order costs are displayed in the grid. However, you can easily change any of these items here and recalculate the grid. For those new to the cost report, the description and calculations used for each column are displayed when hovering over the column headers. Just like our other screens, clicking on the column headers will sort the grid based on that column. Budgeting the sets, adding accounts on the fly, and the filtering options at the top aren't new features to our budgeting area, but provide powerful tools that make working on the page easier. Also available is the ability to combine additional actual or posted items and purchase orders into the grid. I'm clicking on the consolidated actuals and budgets information here. Here you can select as many locations, productions, and even companies and currencies if you have them, and bring the information into the grid. This is helpful for projects that might only have one budget, but have several locations they're tracking or several productions they're tracking. You can combine all of that data together into one grid using only a single budget. And just like our old budget screen, this budget module allows you to create as many budgets as you like, all of them to the same location and production if you need. Anthony, do we have any questions here on the budgeting area?
Yes, Jason is asking, can you jump to the transaction when you drill down to quickly do any distribution changes?
Great question. Not yet. This is still version 1 of the screen. This isn't live yet. This will be live later this month. There are a couple of new features we're going to be adding to this as we go along, but we wanted to get this out, a working version of this out first, and that is definitely one of the features on our new list. Great question.
And Sasha is asking, can you store crew and vendors? For commercials that constantly have turnover, we typically work with the same vendors and crew often. Will they pop up in a database that can be pulled from?
Yes, vendors are all stored within the MediaWeb system. This is the feature television that I'm demoing right now, not our commercial system, but both are very similar where, yes, you can store a listing of all of your vendors, And that information can be carried from project to project when you're doing multiple projects with us. Crew, that's actually stored in our payroll system, so that when the payroll flows into the accounting software, all the crew members that have been paid will appear in MediaWeb as well.
All right. We got another question here from Kara. Do you make adjustments in the column itself?
Yes, you do. That is a great question. So you'll see some of the columns here are shaded, which means they're not editable. Some of them are a lighter color. When you click inside the column, it's simply a matter of typing in what the new dollar amount is going to be, hitting enter or tab, and the information will automatically update within the column. There are modes so that you can automatically match your budget in EFC. So at the very beginning of the project, if you're not importing in from Movie Magic Budgeting or Showbiz Budgeting, you're creating the budget manually, you can check that box. And then as you're entering throughout the screen, everything you type in the EFC will automatically appear in the budget and vice versa. All right, Anthony, did we have any other items?
Kara has a question with regards to the ACH. She would like to know, how do you send the ACH file?
You'll log into the bank's website, and they'll provide an area where you can take the file that's on your local machine and add it to the site.
All right, I think that's
Every
everything.
bank will have their own. I'm sorry, Anthony, you said that was everything for questions?
Yep, that's all the questions that have come in so far. Oh, wait, I got
Excellent.
one here from Sharon.
Anthony, did we lose you?
No, I'm here. The question was from
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sharon. It said, can you change codes in MediaWeb? Budget codes, I assume.
Okay, if you mean account numbers, your account numbers, yes, your chart of accounts is completely flexible within MediaWeb. When you first start a project and import a budget, it'll create your full chart of accounts list for you. However, you can add, edit, or delete whatever accounts you want. We also provide the ability to even add an account on the fly within the budget module here, so you don't have to leave the module to create a new account. All right. Well, this concludes the presentation of our new features. The ACH payment, automated payroll feed, payroll details, and copy-paste functionality into our journal entry and purchase card modules are already available to all MediaWeb users. We'll be sending out an alert when the new budget module is available. However, no action is going to be required on your part to use it, as the enhancements will appear the next time you load the page. I apologize if you posted a question and we didn't get to it. We'll reach out to you directly. And again, a copy of this presentation will be sent out to you later on today. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for your interest in the MediaWeb accounting system. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.